I like the idea of one day, if data becomes a pigment, I hope it doesn't dry.
まさに永遠に見続けられてしまいそうな。
そうですね。ずっと見てしまいますね。
今回のスペシャルゲストはアーティストのレフィーク・アナドールさん、資生堂クレドポーボーテのエグゼクティブクリエイティブディレクターのカレン・エリスさんです。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
ではご紹介お願いします。
はい、レフィーク・アナドールさんです。アート、サイエンス、テクノロジーの交差地点に位置する彼の AI データ絵画と彫刻、没入型インスタレーションの根底には目に見えないデータの世界というキーワードがあります。データをメディウムとして使い、考える筆で絵を描き、機械を協力者として招きながら見えないものに命を吹き込みます。人工知能をパブリックアートに初めて使用し、それらは世界50都市以上で展示され、今回のクレドポーボーテとのコラボレーションは日本で初の展示となります。次にカレン・エリスさんです。資生堂クレドポーボーテのエグゼクティブクリエイティブディレクターとして東京を拠点に活動され、クレドポーボーテのクリエイティブ戦略やビジョンを世界的に統括しておられます。アメリカンポップアーティストのロイ・リキテンシュタインやロバート・ラウシェンバーグのデザインを担当した経験もお持ちで、またカンヌ・ライオンズデザイン賞など国際的なクリエイティブフェスティバルの審査員も務めていらっしゃいます。今回のコラボレーションですが、クレドポーボーテは輝き続ける肌の実現に向け、1982年のブランド誕生から40年以上、人体の最小単位である細胞に秘められた真実を追求し続け、2019年に肌には知性があることを解明しました。今回のコラボレーションでは、知性によって良い刺激と悪い刺激を受けた時の肌の細胞が見せる反応を最先端の AI を活用したアートワークで知られるアーティストレフィーク・アナドールとのコラボレーションによって可視化し、没入感を高めるアートとして表現する試みです。
これはどちらでのエキシビションなんですかね。
MoMA in New York。
いや、まさに没入感という言葉が本当にぴったりな作品なのだろうと想像するんですけれども、
すごい押し寄せてきて飲まれそうになりますよね。
このMoMAの作品はどういった経緯で作られていったんですか。
So this project started, I guess, 2 years ago. First of all, great to be here with you. I'm so excited to say hi to you and be a part of this amazing project. This is a project in New York in Museum of Modern Arts, and it is using 138,000 artworks from the collection of 200 years of many artists, Van Gogh, Monet, Kandinsky, and beyond. So this is an AI dreaming new artworks, not mimicking the artist, but dreaming new works. And it is a media wall, a large media wall, and it is real time, changing every day based on the weather, the camera, and the sound data. It's a living artwork that took 2 years to create. 2 years. Very big research, AI research. It is the very first AI artwork real time running. It's using a supercomputer real time at MoMA. I'm very grateful for the work because for a digital artist, for AI artist, being recognized by a museum in like MoMA is a very important checkpoint, not only for me, for other artists working in the field. It opened up the whole new world for many artists. I started working with AI 7 years ago, 2016. I'm the first artist in resident at Google, and I'm the first generation AI artist. So last 7 years feels like a 70 years to me. Like every day is a new research. So it's very, very inspiring to work with AI.
じゃあもう一つ映像があるということで、見させていただければと思います。
BOSPHORUS. So this artwork is inspired from the water, like just a beautiful poetic movement of nature. So I was born in Istanbul. And in Turkey, and Istanbul has this water element where the west and the east connects. So the Bosphorus is a water that 2 continents connect. To me, it's so meaningful. And this water is also meaning to me like you know, ancient world and the Western world connects. It's so meaningful, so powerful. So for this project, we collected high radar frequency activities of the water surface and train AI to dream the water activities of the Bosphorus. So these are like extreme water movements, literally mimicking the real Bosphorus movements from the real world. So it's a simulation of a water. It's very like a meditative experience.
まさに永遠に見続けられてしまいそうな。
そうですね。ずっと見てしまいますね。レフィークさんにとってこの素材、何をモチーフにするかっていうのは何でもなり得るんでしょうか。
I would say I am very inspired, first of all, meditative artworks, like a very Zen concept, if it's more similar. And I think it's about, but finding beauty in nature is very much a big inspiration. And when I say nature, nature of water, nature of flowers, clouds, like things that I hope belongs to humanity, not the personal data, but a more collective data of our humanity. This can be all the national parks, rainforest, ocean, you know, flower, like this type of like information that belongs to us is very inspiring. And in my work, I try my very best to bring emotions to the surface. Even though it's algorithms, data, machines, but I try to find human in non-human.
データスカルプチャーという言葉をお使いになられていると伺っているんですけれども、まさに作品を見ていても、映像なのだろうけれども、もうあまりに立体的で、そういう意味ではもうスカルプチャーだなっていう感じはするんですけど、そのあたりのこだわりっていうのはどういうイメージをお持ちですか？
Yes, thank you very much. It is like one of the important part because I like the idea of one day, if data becomes a pigment, I hope it doesn't dry. It's always in change and flux. And I think that this can be not only 2D, but kind of a three-dimensional, but like the illusion of time and space in 3D, in the even it's a 2D wall, I still like the idea of three-dimensionality. It feels like it is dimensional than a 2D just flat world.
Could maybe share a bit about some of the pieces that you've done with the neuroscience because they're fascinating.
Yes, so I'm also very inspired by our mind, our literally consciousness, and I am really enjoying this question of the memory. And I think memory is a very important data for humanity, personally, collectively. So last 6 years, I'm researching with neuroscientists about, you know, can we touch our memories? And I know it's not possible yet, but I think it's possible with data. So we are working with EEG, like brain signals, to quantify the moment of remembering, quantify emotions, like emotional memory, positive memory, negative memory, meditative Zen memory. Like we are looking different types of memories and visualizing it. And we also work with Human Connectome project, which is 6,000 people's brain activities. From 6 months old baby to 96 years old elder person. We look at 6,000 people's brain data, and what we look for, certain emotions such as inspiration, joy, and hope. And I hope one day we can turn our emotions into buildings, into environments that we can live in.
水の話だったり時間、歴史の話、絵画だったり違う話をしているようだけれども、なんかこう全部一つのなんか通底しているものがあるような気がするし、ルフィークさんがどういうマテリアルを選んでどういう作品化をするにあたってもなんか同じようなカオスが生まれたりだとか、お話を聞いてるだけでもなんかすごくイメージが膨らみましたね。
ではカレンさんにもお話を伺いたいなと思うんですけれども、今回の作品「アンシン・インテリジェンス」を名付けたというふうに伺ったんですけれども、その名前がクレドポーボーテの観点としてどのような意味合いで付けられたのか教えてください。
When we think about intelligence, this is the basis of Clé-de-Peau-Beauté science. So I'll speak a little bit about that and a little bit about skin intelligence, because as Rafiq was describing phenomenon that we cannot see, this is skin intelligence. Our skin is defending itself, it's responding, it heals itself, it repairs itself, but we don't even realize it's happening. And this phenomenon is happening because of skin intelligence. You know, our skin has the ability to feel, think, decipher information, and act by itself. So what became really interesting for us is to draw this link between this unseen, incredible world of skin intelligence with the unseen, incredible world of the machine intelligence, and try to create an immersive experience for people to have that aha moment. Because if we don't know it's there, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We just can't see it. And you know, the scientists or the research team at Clé de Peau Beauté, they've successfully created our first ever scale-free theory mathematical model of the skin gene network. This is fascinating on many, many levels because one, you know, how do we imagine what's going on inside our skin that we cannot see? This is phenomenal. And two, when you look at the data, it looks like Rafiq's artwork. And it's so uncannily similar that it became, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now, which is also part of skin intelligence. So there was just no other possibility but to work with Rafiq because there's this magical phenomenon. Most of us are very visual learners, so how do we create an experience for people where they have that wow, where you suddenly realize, oh, this exists. So that's kind of a bit about unseen intelligence because it's our science, but it's also the way Rafiq works.
レフィークさんにもお伺いしたいんですけれども、このプロジェクトお話し合った時にどういったところに魅力を感じて今回参加することを決めたんでしょうか。
Yes, I think we have a wonderful dialogue first of all with everyone, including like Karen and the team, and they shared this incredible 3D model of some amazing data. First of all, we have one of the most amazing data as a starting point, as an inspiration, as a validation, scientific point. As we heard, but that was a starting point. And then what was really inspiring to me is how actually UV index, like UV, like the weather data around us, is how our body is reacting to it. You know, there are fires in the world, there are weather conditions in the world, like there are many things around us that we don't see, but they exist. So to me, what was amazing in this project is like, how can we use something we don't see, but we know that they exist, like the weather conditions, UV index, air pollution, and how we can take the data, something kind of negative, but turn it into something beautiful, something like very positive. And how, I mean, it's a very philosophical question, but it's also very real scientific research. Like we took this data from major cities, Tokyo, London, New York, and beyond, and look at the weather data and open source, all open source data online we can find, and look at the UV index specifically, like the weather condition changes and air pollution and so on, and take that data and feed it into our AI model. And our AI model trained on the beautiful refraction and radiance, like these beautiful light patterns that, you know, we see when a light, you know, reflect through like these beautiful glasses or these imaginary molecules of our skin when we go so close, maybe like those water molecules, let's say, that the light goes through and reflects. So we took these hundreds of millions of molecules, if it makes sense, like we just go like a very micro, and then let AI to dream new light forms. So that something in the weather that we don't see turn into something beautiful, poetic data sculpture. So that's like the process and the inspiring research. I never worked something very poetic like this before. We worked with weather data before, but we never take something, you know, kind of a negative and turn into something beautiful, something positive, something like educates and inspires us.
We sort of need to see something to prove it's there. And, you know, science is always on that quest. And again, I have followed Rafiq for years. I hope I don't embarrass you by saying this, Rafiq, but I've, you know, admired his work for forever.
Thank you.
Well, it's true. And it's because it's beautiful, but it's also so intelligent. You know, when we were looking at the MoMA piece earlier, I went to go see the exhibit, and of course, I sat in front of it and watched it forever, but there was also this monitor off to the side, and the monitor off to the side is showing the inner workings of how the AI is creating the final output. And I was just as riveted by that as I was by the output. And Rafiq, I might get this wrong, but you had a post recently where you were speaking about people's relationship to how long they view art and how long they were viewing the piece at MoMA. So it was something like 30 seconds to look at a piece of art, but people would spend an hour in front of the MoMA piece. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
So thank you for that. And I think the MoMA piece, yes. So based on our curators and the art historians, they have been, generally seeing 30 seconds of attention for a museum audience. But for our work, there are people staying more than an hour just experiencing the work. This is a very major input. I'm very grateful to hear it, because in that building there are like heroes like Van Gogh Starry Night, like the Mona Lisa of our era. And seeing that is a very, very important and very motivating aspect of this type of work. So I'm very grateful for that data also.
ね、下手したら17秒っていう人もいますからね。
そうですね。
一つの作品の前に立ち止まる数字が。
今回日本でどちらで展示が見られるのか教えていただけますか。
Ai-san, we're very excited to be presenting this collaboration at Tokyo Midtown. The exhibition opens to the public on June the 28th and will run through July the 2nd. Please, everybody, come and join.
Yes, I will.
And learn about skin intelligence.
Yes, of course.
このお話を聞いてまたね、作品を見ていただけるとまたいろんな想像が膨らむでしょうし、もう1時間でも2時間でも好きなだけ見ていただければなと思います。
日本で見られる貴重な機会で楽しみにしてます。
本当に今日はありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
はい、レフィークさんとカレンさんでした。
Thank you, bye bye.
Thanks so much.
ありがとうございました。
Thank you, Rafiq.